the sea, and a city trying to get to sleep. Beirut? No, there are not enough rooms. Tripoli. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, every fleet marine knows the words to the marine hymn. Oliver North, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Marine Corps. His Commander-in-Chief, the Honorable Ronald Reagan, always and still sleeping the sleep of the just, as he had in cabinet meetings, had his 3 presidential obsessions: hostages, Contras, and Gaddafi. Ollie worked with Vincent Canestraro, on a program that was meant to destroy the Gaddafi regime. Vincent Canestraro will later head the CIA's investigation into Lockerbie. Bob Woodward, in the front pages of the Washington Post, using top-secret documents leaked to him from the National Security Council, wrote about the program. Deception and disinformation.
Mr. Canestraro and myself were the coordinators of Libya policy within the NSC and did have a direct role in coordinating the papers written by state with input from the CIA and the Department of Defense and other agencies that all had a role.
I developed the policy towards Libya. In fact, I wrote the draft paper that was later adopted by the president.
Planted stories, fabricated stories, stories that were meant to spin the world around. Crazy Gaddafi, flaky Gaddafi, killer Gaddafi. The climax of the Vince and Ollie show was to be kept very, very quiet. It does have a name.
I worked next to Ollie for about 2 years, and he was a man that would do anything to achieve the objective he was working on. First, he considered it the most important thing in the world, and secondly, he would use any means, whether that meant lying, even to his friends, manipulating people. He would do anything to achieve the goal.
There was intelligence information which could not be absolutely confirmed that Gaddafi was indeed interested in killing President Reagan. It is true that since then people have argued that this was a fabrication by CIA Director Casey. Of course, with Casey dead, no one can know for sure what was Casey's agenda and whether indeed this information was fabricated.
Oliver North, who was one of the principal proponents of the bombing of Tripoli in 1986, and as we understand now, did manipulate the press, talked quite freely with a lot of media people, and had no compunctions about providing false information.
It is certain that Gaddafi sent people who worked for him, Libyans and others, into the United States to kill Libyan dissidents. There's no question about that. Whether some people may have twisted information that dealt with those individuals into stories alleging a conspiracy against President Reagan may be true or may not be true.
The airplanes gather in silence. Even if the afterburners are at full thrust, as they always have been during every long war that waxes hot and cold. The affable ally, the lady, never keeps the gentleman waiting for long. The bombs and planes are American. The British provide only the pavement. That way, these two very special partners can again skirt the rest of Europe. Lady and gentleman, waiting. Pilot, fuse, and bomb, all waiting. If the wait is too long, a pretext can always be created. In 1986, La Belle Disco in Berlin bombed. Libya is like magnetic north. The finger always points there. After the rubble settles in Berlin, Tripoli, and Benghazi, the evidence implicating Libya goes up in smoke.
We were able, through technical intelligence means, in almost real time, to intercept communications between the Libyan People's Bureau in Germany and the intelligence headquarters in Tripoli, which stated very clearly that a terrorist act had just been perpetrated against an American target as had been directed, and as far as the United States government was concerned, this was ample proof and justification for the retaliation which ensued.
Fellow Americans, at 7 o'clock this evening, Eastern Time, air and naval forces of the United States launched a series of strikes against the headquarters, terrorist facilities, and military assets that support Muammar Gaddafi's subversive activities. The attacks were concentrated and carefully targeted to minimize casualties among the Libyan people, with whom we have no quarrel.
Later on, some Libyan take me in the car and bring me here in the hospital.
This was crazy. We have about 5,000 of their nations. Now, we have the right to kill them right now.
Perhaps they wanted to ban and to kill just the citizens, not military camps.
I saw the effects of that bombing firsthand, and I talked to some of the relatives of people that had died. I talked to some of the people that had been injured. They were ordinary Libyan people. I went and walked around the ruins of the French embassy, the German embassy. They were very Catholic with their bombing, the Americans. If it was standing, they hit it.
The strikes that were conducted against the Azazia barracks were targeted on the Azazia barracks. And at no time am I aware of any directive or action that was taken directly by the United States that could be described as an assassination attempt. I know that some have accused the Reagan administration, and indeed some journalists have accused me personally of trying to arrange for the assassination of Gaddafi. Those accusations are false and without merit.
The only building they hit inside the Azzi barracks where Gaddafi was, which is a huge area. I mean, we're talking something like the size of St. James's Park. Only one building was hit, was a two-story building, which was Gaddafi's private residence. There's no doubt in my mind it was a contract. It was a target to hit one and kill one man.
At no time did any document call for action that could be defined as an assassination attempt against the life of Colonel Gaddafi. Not that many people in the United States would have been unhappy to see Colonel Gaddafi leave the scene, but at no time did our policy direct that be a tactic or strategy that we sought to implement.
I established that Reagan, who went on American TV at 7 o'clock in the evening Eastern Standard Time to explain the attack that had just occurred at 2 o'clock in the morning over Libya, had to have his autocue changed because initially it was justifying the killing of Gaddafi, and of course that hadn't happened, so that had to be wiped off the autocue.
A cluster bomb casing. The stenciled warranty where to return is defective in manufacture. Bomblets. The wing wheel of an F-11. The pile of helmets left behind as if the whooping pilots had thrown them off after a wild bucking ride. The only thing missing, because not made of metal, the 15-month-old girl that died in the ruins. Muammar Gaddafi's adopted daughter.
I have no illusion that tonight's action will ring down the curtain on Gaddafi's reign of terror. But this mission, violent though it was, can bring closer a safer and more secure world for decent men and women. We will persevere.
The policy basically was to confront the Libyans, and it did lead to military confrontation with the Libyans.
What is that famous saying about putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop? For Vincent Canestraro to be put in charge of investigating Lockerbie would be funny if it weren't an obscenity.
Vince was quite aware of what was going on in Syria. He was quite aware of the Iranian dimension and the Iraqi dimension and their role in state-sponsored terrorism. What emerged in U.S. policy was the tendency to be able to most directly deal with Libya because of Libya's geographic proximity to Europe and the United States as opposed